Hello guys, and welcome to my Drush Fast Castle guide. Today I'll be showing you guys how to perform a Drush Fast Castle on Arabia. Basically, a Drush Fast Castle is going to be a strategy where you are going to make 3 militia or 5 militia if you're Aztec, and you're basically going to make those militia in Dark Age and rush your opponent, and then after that you're going to advance to Feudal Age and then quickly advance to Castle Age without making any military units. This build is good in maps where you can easily wall, and it's a way of basically getting up to Castle Age and researching Castle Age technologies such as the knights, the crossbows, or even just getting TCs. Usually in a 1v1 you want to play more aggressive and aim for the knights or the crossbows, but in team games sometimes you'll end up opting for TCs instead, depending on the map. The Drush Fast Castle can be a dangerous strategy to do when you're not walled, so going up and using the Drush Fast Castle build is quite dangerous when you're not walled, so I would not advise it. However, in this video I'll actually be showing you guys how to do Drush Fast Castle, and I'm not going to be walling, so this build is just to show the eco. Usually if you have a lot of walling to do, then you should probably not do the Drush Fast Castle. It's probably not the best build. Yeah, so let me just start showing you guys how it's done, and I'll go over some other things along the way. So starting out, just like normal start. One of the reasons why you don't want to do this build when you're not walled is because you don't have any military in feudal age. So if they go for a flush and you don't have any military in feudal age, and you're not walled, then usually you're just gonna start losing bills or whatever. So that's why it's not usually a good build to use. Even if you can wall, depending on where your resources are at, you may still not want to do the Drush Fast Castle. I'll talk more in further videos about when and when not to use this build, but for now we're just learning how to actually do the build from the eco standpoint. We're using Saracens as well. We're not pushing any deer, we're not stealing any boar, nothing fancy, so usually when you're using a civ like this, you're going to go up on 32 pop. However, if you do push deer and you have a civ that gets an eco bonus, like Huns or Celts or Japanese, then sometimes you can go up a little bit earlier, like 31 pop or even 30 pop, maybe if you push some deer. So, but for Saracens, usually you don't want to go up any sooner than 32 pop. So, yeah. So the first thing we're doing is just putting the 4 on wood. This is all really standard. If you've seen my fast castle builds, then you'll realize that it's almost exactly the same. It is exactly the same at this point, so they'll begin to diverge a little bit from the fast castle build shortly, but for right now we're just basically doing the same thing. So we'll lower the boar in. Let's make sure we get a house. Probably have to get loom here. I'm probably just going to get loom. You usually want to play loom as long as possible. However, we can do it without it because I'm really comfortable with my ability in this build. So, got the boar running back. Let's shoot it before it gets away. There. So after you've lured the boar in, you want to send villagers over to berries. Usually if you're going for a Drush Fast Castle, you actually want to put your mill in a position like this. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But basically I'm going to be putting more villagers on the mill than you usually do. So it's usually beneficial to put it like one tile away. That way we can really saturate the mill with a lot of villagers. So actually you can send her to mill as well. Next villager here, we can use this guy. Alright, so here, still just, yeah. So after you get the 4 on berries, then you can put the next fill on boar or something like that. It doesn't really matter. Gotta lure this fill in. Okay, so this, oops, for some reason she is wanting to attack the boar. So here on the 17th bill, we actually want to go off on the 17th bill because this bill is eventually going to build the barracks as well. But if we go out on here on the 18th pop, then what'll happen is once we try to build the barracks with her, we'll basically, if we go out on the 18th pop and we try to build the house, we'll build the house, then we'll build the barracks, then we'll queue up militia, but we'll end up getting housed because we didn't build this first house. We didn't build the first house fast enough. So usually go out on 17. And then that way you can build the house, the barracks, and the house with this villager without getting pop capped. So that's why I go out on 17. If you forget, you can always make up with it. You could always use another villager to build a house. It's not a big deal, but I like having this villager doing like a lot of different things out on the front. I don't want him just to build the house and the barracks, then go back or whatever. I want to kind of keep her busy out here. You can use, if you do it like this, then you can really establish a nice little wall. So like here, you kind of can establish a wall, which will be really important because you want to make kind of, you want to have kind of a, you want to make your house is useful. You don't want to just have them scatter around your base because, again, with this build, you really want to be walled. So yeah. So let's keep going. Alrighty. Now that this boar's in. So after this boar's in, we want to go to wood. The other thing is that we now need 10 gold for the drush, for 3 militia, right? Because we have 50 and we need 60. So we're eventually going to need to get some extra gold for the next militia. So actually the next villager I'm going to send to gold. I just need 10 gold, that's it. And yeah. Alright, so our scout would probably die right there, but whatever. So with the wood, the number you want to put on wood is basically the amount that the wood line can really handle. In this situation, I don't know if I can handle 8. I'm going to put 8 on here anyways, just because 8 is a number, 8 on wood is a number I really like because it really helps me calculate how many, like it really helps me figure out how my eco is in once I click up to feudal age. So that's a number I really like. Anyways, after you got the 8 on wood or however many you put on wood, right, we're going to add some extra ones to berries. So we're going to add 2 more to berries. Make sure to keep making the drush. I kind of forgot there for a second. So, all right, make sure this is really tough. This is a really tough wood line right here because, yeah. After you get the 8 on wood, or the 6 on berries, usually 6 on berries, none of this stuff is really set in stone. You just want to add more because you don't want to have, 10 villagers gathering under the TC, right? So, yeah. So the drush, we have it out, right? Drush has been made. Now we're just gonna go over here with the drush, right? Keep moving the vills in. Keep making farms, especially with the hurt villagers. It's usually pretty good to do that. See, the wood line's getting a little bit choppy. These villagers aren't really gathering very efficiently at this point. Anyways, we're just gonna queue up 2 more villagers, and that'll put us at our 32. Yep. Just gonna make another farm. The wolves are coming for us. Apparently. Alright, so now we got 1 more vill to make. And yeah. So the last vill we're gonna send here to gold. Sometimes you'll get loom right now. But right now, since we already got loom, we're gonna go. Alright, so now we're going to go over to gold, put 4 vills on gold. This is really similar to the fast castle build. I'm actually going to put it on this side. Alright, so at this point, we're up to feudal age, and we have basically have our eco set. If you watch my fast castle build guide, we used 8 on wood in that build as well, and if you remember what I said about the 8 on wood, the 8 on wood's nice, because if we have 8 on wood, that'll cover us for our feudal age buildings, and then we just have to worry about what else do we need. In this case, we already have the barracks up, so we don't actually need any other buildings other than those 2 feudal buildings. We don't even need a house or anything like that because we're only going to be producing 2 villagers once we click up, or once we get up to feudal age. But what you can tell right here is that we do have some leftover wood, and we want to make sure we use this leftover wood. So right now we have like 100, we have 112. So we want to make sure that we only need we already have the villagers we need on wood to get the 320 wood for the buildings. So basically, this is just extra wood at this point. We need to try to spend this wood. And so what I'm thinking is that after these villagers finish on sheep, we can just move them to farms. I'm not really sure how much food is left on the sheep, but we can move these villagers to farms, and then the other ones we can move to like berries or something, just to make sure our food eco is good. Um, we could also maybe move a village to gold. I think we were a little late to gold here, and you really want to make sure you get that gold so you can click up quickly. Um, but yeah, just remember, look at the wood, and if it's not 0 when you click up to feudal age or like right after, right? Make sure you try to spend that wood, especially if you have 8 on wood. If you have like 7 or 6, then you probably did the build wrong. So you should probably have like 8 or 9 on wood. But yeah, so right now I'm just gonna check the sheep. I'm gonna see what we got. Yeah, so perfect. We're just gonna basically add 2 farms, and then the last 2 are gonna go to, or actually send this guy over to gold. That way we can get that. Drush is here. It's tough. It's not an easy build. The eco is fine, but it can be tough because you also are supposed to be doing the Drush at the same time, right? You're not just doing the, just the eco, right? So make sure all these builds are kind of gathering efficiently. It'll really help us. Yeah, and then the actual game again, you'd be walling. All this would be fully walled. Here, you probably wall. You don't always have to fully wall, but you usually have to wall most of the map. So here we definitely want to wall. Wouldn't want them to come over by the gold. If you're going up against scouts, you probably want to hit the berries. If you're going up against archers, try to hit the gold. Try to do damage with the drush. And by damage, I mean not doing actual damage to the villagers, but damage, just idling the vills is really important. So yeah. Alright, let's take these 3 vills. This is like the worst place to build a range, but we're gonna have to make do for now, I guess. This will actually be interesting. We might not even have the resource to go up. I think we should. It'll be close. Maybe we might have to make an extra villager. It's not easy with Saracens, especially when you get loom. When you get loom early on like this, like right now. We could try to like force drop everything, but chances are if we did that, we'd probably just mess up. So yeah. You usually want to, if you're playing more aggressive, you want to go like 10 on gold. So yeah. So here we're just gonna comparison everybody, and we click up basically. At this point, your drush is probably dead. You should probably have used it by now. And now you're basically gonna want to be making units. So if you go for knights, it's fine. I usually go for archers. I don't like going for knights because I think knights is risky. If they get in on your gold and drop a tower or something like that, then you can be in a lot of trouble if you go for knights because you really depend on the gold for the build. If you're going for archers, you need to be able to get like fletching and bodkin and crossbow. So you want to be basically using all your. You're making a lot of farms basically. That way you have the food eco to get those upgrades. Also want to make sure that you get the wood upgrade. Let's DQ that one. Let's get the wood upgrade. Let's get fletching. Yeah. This is kind of a tough map. This wood line is really bad. It's really tough to efficiently gather from this wood line just because of the way it's kind of shaped. It's not flat here, and it just really kind of screws up the build. Maybe we would have been even better going on this one just because it's flatter and more predictable. You can micro it a lot better here than you can here. It's really tough to get these villagers on the best possible tree or whatever. So we're basically up at this point. I know a lot of times people they like to idle their TC sometimes to get the upgrades. You can see here that we still even have more wood left. That's why it's so important to get those farms made, because you can see how tight resources are. Our gold's a little bit heavy, but it's not actually. Usually I would do 10 on gold in the actual game. I just think that the wood line here is really kind of messed up, so it kind of screwed us up a little bit, and then getting loom earlier in the game also will kind of mess you up. So you can see already that the build is very tight. It's especially depending on the civ. If you're Saracens, the build's just kind of, it's bound to be tight. If you're Huns or Celts or Japanese or whatever, then you might have an easier time doing this build. But again, I wouldn't do it on this map. This map's not very great for it. I don't mean to show you guys a build on a map that I wouldn't do it on, but yeah. And then just don't become one of those people that does this build against everybody just because it works. It's a strong build, but it shouldn't be overused, because better players can counter this build really well because they're a lot better. They're a lot better dealing with the Drush. So yeah. So if you guys have any questions on the build, then leave them in the comments. I'll probably make a follow-up video for this video talking about different kind of variations of the Drush Fast Castle and where you can go from it, i.e. like crossbows, knights, town centers, etc. I could even show you guys Drush Fast Castle into like plumed archers or conquistadors or something like that. Just let me know in the comments what you guys want. If you guys want me to like remake this video and do it with a better time, if it really bugs you that I didn't get up at a really good time, then then let me know. Obviously it was kind of tough because I had to get loom earlier, and the I was specifically not going to push the deer or use a better civ. So anyways, if you guys have any feedback, if you have any feedback for me, just let me know in the comments. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.